Half a day. This is going to be the first of 2 videos on signed numbers. So signed numbers are just numbers that are the positive and negative numbers on a number line. It's important to note that we are also including fractions and decimals. And the number 0 is neither positive nor negative. On a number line, we'll see them like this, where our negative numbers are to the left and positives are to the right. Okay, and also using this number line, we can easily compare numbers to say that something's less than or greater than another number. Numbers that are smaller in value are on the left side of the number line, while the numbers that are greater in value are on the right side. And we use symbols like less than or equal to, greater than, and greater than or equal to indicate these relationships. Since 4 is to the right of 2 on the number line, 4 and 2, we can say that 4 is greater than 2. Comparing -4 and -1, I see that -4 is to the left of -1, so it is less than. And if we have 1 and -1, -1 is on the left, so it's less than 1. And I think it's important to note that the opposite is true. So if this were flipped, 2 is less than 4. -1 is greater than -4. 1 is greater than -1. These are all true statements. An absolute value is the distance of the number from 0 on the number line. Distance from 0. If I was to say the absolute value of +5, I would identify where it is on the number line. And I know it's going to be, let me use a different color. Number 5 here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units from 0 on the number line. The absolute value is 5. If it's something on the left side, so we can see the absolute value of -3. -3 is right here. 1, 2, 3. The distances are always considered positive, so we're going to actually just take the positive of any number, and then that'll be the absolute value without having to use the number line. Now we're going to go into adding signed numbers. When we are adding signed numbers of the same sign, meaning that both are positive or both are negative, what we're going to do is add their absolute values and then keep the same sign as the numbers. Add and keep. When adding numbers with different signs, we're going to be doing something else. We're instead going to be subtracting the absolute values. And then for this sign, we're going to keep the sign of the larger absolute value. So let's go into some examples. We're going to do finding the sum. So for letter A, we see that we have two negative numbers. To add these two, what I'm going to do is add their absolute values, which are 18 and 12. So that's going to be 30. And I'm going to keep the sign. Since they both are negative, my sign is going to be negative. For letter B, we have negative 32 and positive 88 being added together. Different signs. What I'm going to do is find the difference of their absolute values. So positive 32 and 88. I'm going to subtract 32 from 88, which is going to give me 56. And then I'm going to keep the sign of the larger absolute value, which is 88. And since 88 is positive, I'm going to leave my answer as positive. Letter C, I see that these two numbers are both negative, so I'll add them. Same sign, add. 9 plus 11 is 20. Keep the negative sign since they're both negative. For letter D, different signs. 17 is positive, negative 24 is negative. I'm going to subtract their absolute values. So I'm subtracting 17 from positive 24. And that would give me 7. But now this 7 is actually going to become negative because negative 24, or the number with the largest absolute value, is negative. So now, of course, we're going to go into subtracting sign numbers. And I want you to keep this in mind, that subtracting B from A is adding the opposite of B to A. So for me, I don't even think of addition and subtraction as two different operations. Addition and subtraction are essentially come down to the same operation. It's just that subtracting, when you're subtracting, all you're doing is you're adding its opposite. If that's confusing, we'll just go straight into some examples. So basically what you're going to do is change the subtraction symbol to an addition symbol. So if I gave you this A minus B, what I'm going to do is change that subtraction symbol to addition. So it's going to be A plus. And then what you're going to do is change the sign of the number that's being subtracted. So notice that B here is being subtracted from A. So what we're going to do is change the sign of B. So B there is positive. So what I'm going to do is negative B. And then from there, you just use the properties of adding sign numbers. And of course, we're going to go back into some examples. We'll call this example 2. So we're going to find the difference. So we're going to see A, we have negative 6 minus negative 9. I'm going to change that first one. So we have negative 6 plus, now change the minus to a plus, and then change the sign of whatever you're trying to subtract. So this is going to become positive 9. Now it's an addition problem, negative 6 plus 9, different signs. I'll take the difference of their absolute values, keep the sign of the bigger absolute value, which makes it positive 3. For letter B, we're going to have 5 minus 11. So that first one's always staying the same, 5. Changing this minus to a plus. And since that 11 is positive, I'm going to make it be negative 11. And now I'm adding a positive number and a negative number. Take the difference, so it's going to be 6. But it'll be negative since that 11 is negative. And it's bigger. Let's try one last one. Subtract negative 6 from 8. So if I'm saying subtract something from something else, that first one, whatever I'm subtracting, is going to be at the end of my expression. So subtract negative 6. I know I'm subtracting negative 6 from something. From 8, so 8 should be in the front. Very important how you write this down. From here, we'll just solve it using the same thing. Change this minus to a plus. 8 plus, change that 6 to a positive. And of course, 8 plus 6 is equal to 14.